Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. Alright, we got that. What did I do? Nope, not that one. There we go. Oh yes, in a little bit different position than usual. And yes, mic check is on. Alright, so I was kind of poking around with some stuff. Part of it was checking out actual online services with IDs and keys and stuff. I wasn't sure I wanted to stream. And then I woke up kind of early. Maybe I should have started the stream up. But, I hadn't had breakfast yet. So, to recap, wasn't finding... Well, there's a couple of things. One of them was Jason had put out a request for a, first version of the 1 Hour 1 Life server. So I started poking at that a little bit. Somebody else got it up normally. And what I found is that there's not really anything like a Heroku for Docker, where you can just say, here, host an image for me. There are reasonable approximations. So apparently, this is Docker Desktop for Mac. It does some stuff with... okay, good. It does some stuff with some Apple-specific virtualization. Prior to that was Docker Machine, which I found some articles saying, well, you can kind of use them together, and it's like, oh, do I have to go install this older thing, and then they're awkward to switch. Well, it turns out it's installed with Docker for Docker Desktop. I don't know if it's... Yeah, it's actually listing that, even though it stopped right now. So this has a create command. You still have to do the funny stuff. So, like in my... what do I call it? Machine run. You have to eval these end variables that have all the machine information. And then the regular Docker command that's in the environment of those variables will actually be managing your remote servers. And those environment variables are the thing that you kind of have to be flipping back and forth. So we got that. There is a version of the server published in the Docker Hub now. Under Wondable, it's like OL server. And I had that running a little bit. And then the second thread was... Well, I got it running. It ran me up like 22 cents in just half a day yesterday. So that's probably like over $10 a month. So the default instance size was maybe the larger end. So the second thread, well, there were some configuration changes. Docker file, it's really more package server Docker file. So this used to configure the settings in the container. There was a run command for that. But that meant that I could not do different settings for my local server as for my online server, without having a bunch of different Docker files for things. And if I'm moving the image up there, because as far as well, there's no way to push it to the Docker machine. You have to actually get it from a registry. So so the easiest way to do that was to publish to the Docker registry. But then I had to do settings. So I've switched package server run to having it actually run that as part of, or run the configure script as part of the startup process Package server run. And then we do a bind mount of our local settings script on top of that to actually update things with all of our, don't update look times and turning off the ticket server and such. Because I figured I should publish that with it enabled by default, since that's how Jason wants things. So that's that setting configuration, and then we've got the problem of building the old version. So you actually don't have, this is a build server thing. So I've been updating these variables and publishing them as build args. Build server Docker file. So this, I read that it would fail if they were blank. I think what actually happened is scripts that are set to error on blank variables might fail. It seems like you can actually run this without filling in values. And then fetch latest tagged isn't quite accurate anymore. We actually say only if it's 0 length or blank, we fill that in. Otherwise, we'll use that version to check out that specific tag. And I think that's working, although what I didn't do... Hey, Pollux. Direct me to a database design on a hotel booking system based on time. Definitely not something I could point you to right offhand. I mean, are you looking for some advice on building it, or what? Now, what do you mean by based on time? And what level are you at? Are you like picking a database? Are you trying to design tables? Database design. Well, that is... So are you just looking at the scheduling portion, or do you have to like do everything from scratch? See, and that is actually a little awkward. Oop. Okay, yes, we had it up. We had it up here. The users and listing. Okay. So we've got users, we've got what? Listings of available rooms? Okay, well, one of the problems is that computers and timestamps are notoriously hostile. Well, I guess it's really time zones. If it's a single hotel, you might be able to get away with storing things in the hotel's local time zone. So that'll kind of have to be a judgment call there. But you're going to have people registering from all over the place. So often what is done is you store timestamps in UTC and then resolve them to time zones on display. How you do that gets a little bit tricky because you kind of almost have to get to like into some JavaScript to grab the browser time zone to know what that is. Which depends if you're doing a big front-end thing or it's all back-end. But assuming that you're just doing everything in the location of the hotel and not doing all the time zone translations, you'd still end up with some sort of timestamp. Well, that might have to be interpreted from a date that was displayed in the browser. But once you parsed it, you'd essentially get a timestamp you could store. So you said hotel, but you told me specifically about times. So is this like a short-term bookings, or are you're actually going to do like check-in time, check-out time kind of thing, and actually on different days? I mean, presumably you'd have a reservation. Let's check in, check out, which, I mean, the hotel would have standard times for those, but guests might be able to indicate when they plan to come in. Checking for, well, Yeah, hotels will typically book by the night. Not worrying about the days as much. Or like the individual hours. Yeah, that is a kind of an awkward design because it's like because you could choose either to store availability or to check for reservations at a given time. So you'd have to decide if you wanted to do a reservation with a start end or have individual reservations. 2 hours or 5 hours. Okay. Well, that might make, yeah. Like for nights, you might get away with having an actual record for per day. So that when you needed to query, what's available each day, you could just count up available rooms. At the hourly basis, you'd be storing a record per hour might seem prohibitive. I'm trying to think if there's any other convenient way you'd be able to show that. Because if you've got time ranges for all your reservations, you'd still have to be able to look for a given time, how many rooms do you have available at that time. You could probably work out the queries. Well, for a particular moment, you could say between start end. But if you're doing ranges, it starts to get ugly. Which is where having a record per hour or whatever might make things a little bit easier. Because you could do a direct check for reservation covering this time slot. Because absent that, I'm not sure how you would do an efficient database query for intersecting time ranges. You could maybe query all the reservations that are on that day and then do all the range comparisons in code. If it's not a huge system, that shouldn't be terrible on the database traffic. Yeah, because it's either that or you have to keep one record per room and per hour, assuming you're in hour blocks. If it's more fine-tuned, then that probably wouldn't work. So that way you could directly check what's available at each time slot. And if you were looking for a certain range, you could get everything in that range. And then possibly like sum it grouping by hour to get the overall availability kind of thing. But yeah, if you don't do the individual hours, I think you'd have to... Yeah, possibly get all reservations in the day and do it in software. I mean, if I thought about it more, I might be able to figure it out. The trick you gotta watch for is like one time range can be fully contained in another, or vice versa. Or they could be partially overlapping. So you can't necessarily do endpoint. One endpoint is inside the other range because any given endpoint could be outside of a range, but still have bits overlapping. Yeah, I mean, you could try doing some web searches on like reservation database designs for reservation systems, or about like overlapping ranges like that. Maybe there's some better solutions out there. But those are kind of the two designs that I see depending on, your data volume versus processing time trade-offs. Because the record per time slot kind of makes it easy to do some of the queries, but you're going to have a lot of little records, both to store and to update when there's a reservation. But if you do record per reservation, you've got to do a lot of range comparisons to see what's there. So anyway, so we had updated, we had updated this to check out specific versions. Okay, well, at least it was helpful. I mean, I'm kind of too abstract right now to get super detailed, but that's some ideas. So we've got this. We can check out specific versions, and then what I did, no, build server. Okay, cool. So we have this patch for LinearDB, but LinearDB 3 has not always existed. So when we go back on the Wayback Machine here, this patch does not apply. Now we could have turned this off and just let it fail, but that doesn't seem quite right. So it might be that all we have to do is put a file exists test here. Do I still have... Yep, cannot find. So this is the patch. We are in the directory where that file exists. So I've been learning a little bit about shell syntax. So I think if exists, lineardb3.cpp. Yep, okay, that got all messed up. All right, well now that's not a little one-line thing again. Then build server. All right, I might actually be able to leave this over here for a bit. Now this wasn't even all the way back. I was just picking a point where I figured we may have crossed past LinearDB. So that's going to take a little bit. I did post in that thread, so that might make it easier to find. All right, so these are, we're gonna have to get that stuff. So he's thinking V57 and probably V57 for this. No, these were V58 had V57 data, so probably server V58. That was one of the, that's right. I was going to test on my other build to make sure it was actually running it. I've got pretty good reason to believe it's actually doing that update right now. Okay. We got one of those. So we want, so what we're doing, do I still have this? Yeah, kinda. So data version 57. Server version 58. So the way I've structured this, mostly to save fetching the data every time when we update things, is that I'm running essentially the same script both outside and inside the build process, with the idea that we ship it over in the context, which is big, but it saves us having to do a network fetch. And then the container, the build process will run the same script, which will essentially no op, because we've already fetched and checked things out. But if you did just run the build, it would still work, because it would then do the fetch and update. All right, so that sets our local source cache. And then the code version number files that gets output by that get picked up by build server and then get passed back through build server fetch and company. So the other thing we're going to need is a way to test this. So I'm going to want to also bring that up. And this is just going to be going to the same site and getting downloads, so it's not going to be too interesting right off the bat here. Oh, no, wrong thread. Can someone set this up? One Life 58. Okay, that looks like... that's an exe. So that must be some sort of packager. Interesting, because I thought I wonder if he repackaged it from a zip to an executable. Where are you going to put that? We'll extract the game. Extraction path. Let's just downloads. We'll give another path just in case. All right, so we've got a build. Now, are we going to need to adjust anything? Oh, this is going to want its own data volume. We like Docker volume, create. The data is v57. So for now, we might just modify. We have to package this. And I think that it's picking up the same versions. So package server just grabs that and all the things. It might not be using all the config variables that we're... No, we're only setting servers right now. Okay, so now we've got a package server. Oh, that one was set to the latest, which is kind of not accurate. Oopsie. We can redo that later. So package server run. This just grabs that name, so it'll kind of end up being latest. I probably should just have a separate script for this. Because we're going to have a different data. Local settings should still be fine. And we want server 58, data 57. We have to make that executable. Oh, server using version. Okay. I guess I was wrong about that. Did something else do a fetch then? Where does server version number from? Because I was mistaken about... Yeah, we didn't even have apocalypses at the start. Well, shoot, I thought it was working. Well, why is it using... Oh, I bet I know. Package server. Oop. Package server. Just... Ooh. This is grabbing from OHO build. There is no tag on there. So package is, in fact, if you want to build an older version, and it must be taking latest, going to need to be able to specify a version tag. Which means that once we get to this point... Now, arguably you need a tag, not the versions. And this is kind of doing logic. Well, maybe package should always be a specific version. Now, unfortunately, I don't think you can do like full-on logic in here. Well, I might be able to do... something like this. And then I could go through all this. So do I have a good way to tell what we built with? Well, we're gonna have. I mean, this is gonna be a run command that'll mess some stuff up, but we can. Run echo. Oh, source, one life. Server code version number dot text. And oh no, this is all. That's where it's from. This is actually we're running this work there. It'll be easier because then we can just say data version number. So my package server. Okay, now these I found last time need to be exported. Build server, we've actually kind of got this. And I might have to do something to control whether we're tagging the latest on these. All right, so we need to do package server. Invalid flag. Invalid reference format. Well, I guess I don't actually need. I don't know if that helps. I don't do a lot of shell scripting type stuff, or even if it's even valid here. Package server Docker file. Because we were doing that as string interpolation. Well, I mean, kind of want to know when the string ends. Don't know if that's going to be any better. Invalid flag value. Invalid reference format. Is there a way... Dynamic image specification. I mean, that might be similar. Okay, it's allowed in a from. Maybe I have to... How would that work? Build up that entire thing as a string? Entry point. Use R, I guess in copy. Well, unfortunately, from is another word. Build arg and copy. Need to find it with arg and Docker file. Now you see that copy is fine. Can I... Well, it's a run in the context of the machine. I would have to like run echo tag to see what we got. Oh, okay, we did not interpolate there. Maybe I am mistaken here. So that would be the bad syntax. Okay, so that is actually correct. But it's still saying tag. Can we do a similar thing? Nah, it doesn't like that either. So you can use it in a copy path, but not in the from statement. Argin copy. Hello version from hell. Yep, that is exactly what we're looking for. Open issue on Docker side is not working for dash dash in add and copy. Workaround. You can specify a from that you're not directly using, huh? The arg used in from must come from before all the from lines. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Interesting. Okay. So we actually have to say all of this stuff. From ohel build. I mean, tag is probably fine here. Or since I'm not repeating it now, I don't necessarily even need to have the tag here. We're only doing this once. And then we do as. Now, ohel build is a actual image name. And I guess we could just have this as a full image target variable. Because this kind of assumes the local one. Also, this will not work unless you. This really won't work unless you pass those in. All right. All lines. Search. Ohel build. Tag. Replace. And then we want to know what we actually copied. Copy failed. No such file or directory. Well, what did it say about the from lines here? So it was happy with the line. We don't know what it really resolved to. No. Oh! This is before names. Hmm. How do I check the existence of that in the source file? Is there an if exists option? This is a reference. Source dist. Man, this only even documents shown, not even the from. Oh, no, there's from. Oh, we're treating it as a multi-stage build. Okay. Numeric index. Well, that'd be one way to keep it. Yeah, you can put them into one file. That would tie them together. Well, I guess I mainly liked having them separate just for development efficiency. For regular builds, you're pretty much doing both steps. Context of the build. If multiple things, it must be a directory. Nope. Docker copy optional file? This isn't something that happens in a script. So I don't think you can really do any conditional behavior. No. Docker copy might not exist. Conditional copy add. Bocker. File which may exist star. Oh, at least one valid source. Okay, so what are we copying here? I don't know that we want all text files. Something we could check, though. So Docker, build server, source, one life, server. Assuming that the build process didn't create anything else. Sample test map. Protocol.txt. I mean, it wouldn't be terrible to copy those. Test map is 68 bytes. Protocol is a little bit more. Oh, we also have to do that for data, but that might be a little bit easier, actually. Blocking text. Oh, wait, all the data files are useful filters text. Oh, a copy statement has to match at least one thing. So we can probably say... Oh, what, okay, we did, okay, okay. And I could throw those on top of the executable. That's always going to exist. Data is... Well, data is not actually a problem. Hmm. Well, we're starting these, well, full paths of sorts. I guess we probably want to have that one last. So we can do our dot thing to close it out. Star names dot text. And we expect the server code version number to actually exist. And then the star will do those if they're there. Oh, more than one sort. The destination must be a directory and end with a slash. Oh, nope, I don't want echo. I want... Does cat do it? $58, $57. All right, so we don't really need these anymore. And then we had a package server run. That looks a little bit different. Oh, except we actually started a server with well, it may have not really written anything, but that we kind of started a server with the wrong version. Now I was messing with the link static script a bit because it looked to me like this was saying if it exists, remove it. So we can link it. But what we used to have here was just bang, which didn't seem right. Oh, because that got packaged into the file. Didn't complain about any others, though. No, still saying it's trying to do that. All right, well, we think we might have an old server started up. So where did... so get that one on, we can turn that one on. Did we do a double directory? Yeah, we got a double directory. So let's go stick you. Oh, and we got all the files in there. So, well, this is my local server, so I actually don't need to worry about the tickets, ticket server. We do want to do some other things. Custom server address is not going to be localhost because I've got running over there right now. I think that was it. Use custom server. Let's see, review server we probably won't hit. We wouldn't want to hit reflector, I don't think. as we want to stick on this version. Any other URLs that wouldn't want to bother? That might be it in this one. What did I have? I had... Oh, this doesn't have borderless window mode. Okay. Or maybe it only writes that out when it changes it. Oh, yeah, it's just... Oh, yeah, we don't even have the custom server settings in here. We just have full screen. Well... It's OG 1 Hour 1 Life. Oh, I don't think we had eggs. Only picked the fruiting milkweed. So I may actually be playing this on the server that was that Clan Baby or somebody set up? In case you run into some actual people. Yeah, didn't we have... Yeah, Carrots had two seed heads once upon a time. Okay, well, that's our build experiment. Oh yeah, and soil. It was baskets, and then that was it. No bowls. So yeah, I don't even think I played this version exactly. All right. No, not that. We want you and you. Oh, that's right. You died on disconnect. There was no reconnection support. All right, so we can... I might need to clean this up a bit. Oh yeah, I never used that. Elastist, and I misspelled it too. So we've got package server run specifically for that. Build server. Switched over to variables and passed those down, and I turned off latest tagging, which is something I have to fix for my other server as well. So I'm almost wondering if I should have a separate step for tagging latest. So build server has to have those args to pass them down. You can't test. It actually the undefined variables flag will actually break even if you attempt to test the variables before using them. So that became version. We added the check to that. This checks for versions and fills them in if needed be. And then package server we have to think about. And then we got a little hack here. Oh yeah, and we still haven't fixed the last names problem. So it was saying file already exists. Shouldn't that be file does not exist? Oh, you know what? That's what the problem was. We bumped a character somewhere while moving stuff around. So that, oh. Well, okay, so that takes care of the fact that they were different messages, but LN is still saying file exists. Yet none of the directory links are complaining. And now they're both complaining, actually. No, we have to build that because it's a container file. Okay, I know it exists, but what the heck is going on here? Can we... Alright, so that stuff is actually in a run script. So we're in DB. I don't see no names. So the error is not file exists. It's file does not exist. So we think this is more proper. So the question is, how do you do Boolean combinations? Is it... well, no. Remove it if it exists, and then... if it does not exist... No, if it does exist, link it. That was a little overreaching there. Yep, we're in the container. Okay, no more error messages. Well, we do have to do some very specific stuff to run that initial server. Maybe you could say run with version variables or something that would put together, well, I would then need to rename my data container so I could use those variables directly. Which is not how I want to do it for the normal. I just kind of keep that one around. Although I do have some data upgrade issues with that. So build server. I'm not quite sure what to do. About latest. Maybe for build, I don't need a latest. And then I should just remove that tag to avoid confusion. Now, package is actually something I might publish. Build. How does this work? Does this become a container remove option then? That's very specific. Removes one or more images. Removes only a tag in the case that images are tagged with multiple tags. Okay. Untagged. Okay. So that's one of our problems now. Package server also tags these as latest. But if I'm doing historical build, that's not so great. Then we've got package server run. Which is effectively relying on latest. What do we do with you? We can make another file that just does the latest tags. We'd have to be able to construct the version tags we think we were using. That we would have to do that at deliberate times when our files were set. It's just kind of annoying not to have that be an automatic part of it. But the only way to do that is that we have package server latest and just package server. Or package server old or something. So that one does the latest tags and the other doesn't. Yeah, I don't see a actually nice way to do this. Either I have two different scripts. I tweak this script when I want to do historical stuff. Or we have to have a very explicit tag operation for latest, which normally, in your normal just upbuild the latest server thing, you do want. So I guess we take on the maintenance of having two different scripts. So these do not get tagged as latest, and otherwise it's all the same. Geo plus X, package server old. So build server, we just dropped latest. We're set up to try and hit a version number in there. Patch became optional. We replaced that get search with the variable. Turned on error checking. This is a whole bunch of variables potentially overwriting the lookup. But if we don't specify that, we will still get the latest version of things. And then that will create the the version number files that will set everything else up. Okay, so I've still got some files just lying around. I actually ran out of space in Docker apparently, and I was trying to remove some images, but like some of the things was seems like they were just hanging the Docker daemon. So I had to put that off for a little bit. All right, so we're back to there. Now, do I have a README in this project? I do. It's probably very, very, very out of date. All right, so this is actually still accurate. I think this still works. There's actually a point under here. So it's gonna look. So this is going to be. We could go ahead and use this as an example. Build server is fine. Package server should be fine. Package server old. And then we've got let's just say run command. Okay, so that's actually fairly up to date there. Windows. I think that's probably still reasonably accurate. I don't think I've changed that. Yeah, so this is not a storage layer anymore. So what we really kind of want to say, this is more like a configuration thing. Uh, Settings on a per instance basis. Override the mount over the package server run. Let's see. Default configuration disables most official services except the ticketing server. Okay. There's probably a lot better documentation we could do. But that gives a high-level view of the process. Storage layers. Well, we'll just call it this for now. Now, I think I have actually lost a couple of these commands. So Docker machine. I actually thought that they had a lot more specific Docker machine documentation. Or maybe it's the drivers. Yeah. And I ended up copying a command that did some extra stuff. Well, I don't. Mm, it's not reasonable to redocument this entire process. Mm. Is there a... No, there's not a generic thing here. Uh... Refer to the documentation and your machine driver. So something like... C2? Driver Amazon EC2, and then we give it a name. So there's that. That creates a machine that you can run Docker commands on. There was something I had to do. Print which machine is active. Yeah, I left a lot of this stuff alone. Yeah, you don't specify that. Provision hosts in the cloud? There was a way that you had... Well, it's probably back here. Maybe it's install, maybe it's local. ls, create a machine, list available machines, get the environment machine for your machine. Okay, so maybe there isn't an active. Machine run does this. Okay, so that's actually what's setting active. It's not, there's a default, it's just rename it. I'm using underscores here for whatever reason. Oop. Oh, you're gonna need a volume probably. Well, this is base. Oh, the other thing I had to run into. Is the whole switching back and forth thing. It's actually, there's a versus. This is for Mac specifically? Yeah, this is specifically. You might have to look up your version. Um, note that the eval command makes all Docker commands operate on the remote virtual machine. Of course, that switching process then might actually be might be specific to Mac. Does this have a versus toolbox? It does not. Oh, so that might actually be Mac specific. Migrate Docker toolbox, yeah. I don't know how specific that is. All right, well, that's something. Okay. I would like to take a break. And then I have also needed to update my build for the client because I've got some features almost ready, but I think I need to ship a new setting file. And then I'm going to have to look at, maybe that'll take us to lunchtime. We'll see. So actually, be back in a few minutes. All right. You're good? Yep. Alright, you're watching the kids? Okay. And then this needs bowl with corn kernels. Yep.
Run.
Being wild right now. Let's see. Okay, so I think we'll give us a little bit more to work with. I guess now I should. I wish I did this earlier. Hi Ryatashi, thanks for stopping by. Do I make games all by myself? This.
Different Steam name, but just somebody came in and said hi, and he said he had the game, so I'm like, hey, I haven't played much multiplayer, let's check it out. And I figured, probably better if he hosted the game, since I'm also streaming. So I saved that world, Lost in the Cave, so it'll be fun getting out. Yep, okay.
So, Peen-kun was always by my side. And because of that, I was able to live out my dream of being a chosen one. I lived as a chosen one alongside the familiar I called a friend.
Then you're saying Peen-kun's real form is...
Yes. Peen-kun is a delusion I myself have created.
Peen-kun is a delusion?
It all makes sense now. It feels natural. Freeing, even.
Peen-kun?
Now that you know, this existence, the one you call Peen-kun.
Junkrat's over to the left somewhere. You can find him. Oh! What the hell? Just hit me.
Hello there.
Oh.
Sniper detected.
Alright. Welcome back. So, on the other side of this, and we've not done anything to make this multi-target yet, but, well, with the mod patches, I don't think it would be easily multi-target. We could only do one that built vanilla. But how am I... Windows client build... build client cross. This is going to be Windows client build. Or just Windows client. Is that part of apply patches? No, because it has to be where we... Where do we zip things up? Build client cross. Move, copy, 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 copy. Did I never get over here to do any of the setting copies? Oh, no, package files. Yeah. I kind of wonder if this should move over to the other repository. But for now, Windows client fetch, because I think I did push up the changes to the patch repo. Yeah, it's probably been a while since I did this. So Windows client source. Patches. Patches master from OneLife. Oh, this, I might not have actually checked anything out here. Okay, so this is in the server build. Oop, too far. Way too far. Source OneLife. Maybe I have never done a cache refresh? Or maybe it's just too many files. Patches master. So README. Oh, this is, yeah, we haven't actually checked out the newest version here. Is that right? Maybe I'm doing that in... Git checkout latest tagged. Where are we? We're just on master, but active is on 17. So that seems fine. So why? I must have got the wrong README. Patches, master, README. Windows client source. Oh, maybe I set up something to ignore this for search depth? Or maybe it's just too many files in general. Because it does not want to find a whole lot of files here. Okay, fine. So we mostly end up doing these at the end. Right, because it checked out the latest tagged version. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is the setting file we need. settings, emotion keys, and we don't have any other. Some of the things might need settings at some point. Windows Server, package files. Well, the patches repo is kind of just the patches repo. Didn't necessarily want it tied in with the build system, but this list of stuff, well, I guess to a certain extent the names. Of course, that would make this dependent on a certain version of that repository, up to and including the .exe file. But that might be a better way to run things. So this we actually want to move. Now again, it would be better if the individual patches actually added their appropriate setting files to. Oh, that would require it to be in the source tree, wouldn't it? Yeah, I probably don't want to go down that route. I'd have to have a file in the target repository that actually updated with that. Get them solidly in the patches, or yeah, the information would go with the patches, but it's probably only useful to my build process. Okay, so this is going to be a two-window operation. That's what we should do. Package files. All right, so we had to go into, yeah, here to here. List of files to include in build packages is now stored in this repository. We think this is going to be, well, it won't build if we don't update it. We're trying to make 18. We actually have to do that and tag it, which maybe we'll have to do some history rewriting here. Okay, so, oh, this is the one we changed. Oh well. Patch version number is part of my build process here, so we can ignore that. Include list of files to Package in races. And then get tag. It's the right format. EK. Then for our Docker build, yep, other build server. No, Windows client, build client cross. Well, there's patch version number. And it's actually a few less dots. All right, so that is, we've already, well, we should probably do a fetch because that will, well, we've already checked out the latest tag, so that's pretty much going to be the same effect. All right, now this one does take a little moment here. I don't know that there's anything else that I want to work on, given the time we got left. Like I kind of, on the LifeLog databases, I kind of need to be getting deep into the data stuff. So that might be too big to do as a closer here. And of course, the package files thing is right at the end of the process, so it could go through all this and not quite have it. Oh, and I typoed it. Well, that tells us it tried to use the right file. At least we've got that. Oh, and that was part of our commit and part of our tag. We're just going to try to do get latest tagged. I'm not really using this anymore. So we're going to have to we basically want to amend that. And then, so can you drag tags? This does not let you drag tags. First, I'm going to push this anywhere else yet. Get tag. Now there, I should actually check where we're going here. Let's see. No further updates on OHAL yet. But we are kind of expecting a, well, we know he's playing with water and he usually updates once a week. Maybe he'll leave that, like, does the other bug fixing. But he has been kind of going late lately. So we don't have any indication of an update there. But we might have an update soon. And so in which case I might just hold till then. People are going to be updating anyway. But we need to have our build process straightened out. But at least in the future, I can update my list of setting files in that repository instead of having to come over and tweak this every time. Okay, copied. Okay, so it rearranged things a little bit, but fine. And it looks like I'm not doing version tags on this. Which is probably fine. I mainly just need to dump a file out of it. And then, yeah. Store list of client package files in patch repository. Oh, that's just the water. All right, so we've got this. Oh, right, this is just uncommitted file. Oh, right. We've updated that. Oh, I had this on an HTTP. All right, I'll have to, well, that's really just, well, that one, here I thought it'd be fine to do all the changes here. So I don't know my URL formats offhand. So we need that one. From... No, it's like... .git config? Oh, I can actually do a separate origin for it. Now we can use our SSH to update that. And git status, we're reasonably done there. I've got some cleanup stuff I need to do on all these images. All right, well, yeah, that's really it for like related work. I mean, I can maybe do a little bit of poking around with the hosted machines. And that's mostly just going to be some console commands. I guess shout if that sounds interesting. But otherwise, that might be it. Nope, it did work. Okay, cool. That will be it for now. Let's see. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for hosting. See if I have anything to recommend. Okay, so we got that. There is the schedule. But when I've tended to stream, I think we're starting to see Tuesdays and Thursdays roll off. Well, actually, how about, since this is a little bit of One Life stuff, I did see somebody playing that I've watched before, and that was a pretty good job. So Lizzie Games is playing 1 Hour, One Life. Jesse's making her own town, so I'm guessing that's custom server, but I don't know. Maybe she's even doing the classic one. I don't see anything super indicative of which version right now. Well, it's Ops. I don't think he did a old version, probably. But yeah, if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.